Well, the camera picks up all the sound. So if you say anything, you'll be recorded. Anything you say can will be used against you. You're responsible for it. So if light generates heat, you know that's empirical certitude. That's pretty sure about it because we've observed it, and that's the principle of one of the principles of light generates heat. So it's sunny outside, it gets hotter. Like when the clouds come out, it's a hot day because they're not generating as much heat. So if I say, I think Luke is an honest guy, what type of certitude is that? What do you think, John?
I think maybe
Out of those levels of certitude, those categories, what one? Not logical, what? Moral. Moral truth. Moral certitude. I have moral certitude. 9 times 7 is 63. Brianna, what is that? What type of certitude? It's mathematical certitude. And God has revealed to us that there are 3 persons. One God. What type of certitude is that? It's not moral, but moral is just you're making up like a moral judgment, okay? Like you're telling me the truth, but there's a different type of certitude when we deal with what God has revealed to us. It's called religious certitude, divine certitude. God has lied to us. What is the act of faith? I firmly believe, oh my God, I firmly believe all the truths the Holy Catholic Church teaches because you have revealed them who can neither deceive nor be deceived. So, yesterday, we were dealing with objective truth versus subjective perceptions or opinions. Okay? So, I draw my 3 circles on the board here. There's 1, there's 2, intersect, and there's the 3rd one. Okay? And over here we have objective, okay, reality, the capital R, or truth, we can say. Objective reality, truth. Okay. They gave an example: 1 God, 3 persons in 1 God. Okay, that's objective truth. It says the sun's shining right now. That's objective truth. Doesn't matter what we believe. We took a vote on it. You know, how many of us believe the sun isn't shining right now? Doesn't matter if all of us raise our hands. That does not change reality. Our mind, our perception of things does not change reality. Reality is outside of our mind. That's objective reality. So, here we have subjective. What's the subject? Person. Subjective perceptions. Perceptions of objective reality. What I perceive reality to be. I'm looking at things, and I'll have a perception of reality, each one of us. Here, next to this, are expressions or explanations of perceptions. We should say people's. People's expressions of their perceptions of objective reality. Okay? Here, people, they differ how they perceive and express reality. Here I include things like philosophies, okay, and religious beliefs. Okay. religious systems of belief. Now, over here, we'll start with religious systems of belief. Yesterday, I gave some examples. Okay? Greek, Roman gods. Okay? Whenever you write God on a paper for me, not write it with a small g. Write it with a small g. That signifies a pagan god. So we can say pagan gods, because they believe in things that weren't real. As I mentioned yesterday, Socrates, he kind of poo-pooed the idea of all these gods. He said, come on, we know there's one God. And they wanted him killed for that because that was the religion of the state. What are some other religious systems of belief? You've got Greeks and Romans. What's another one? Vikings have their own. Okay. They have their own. For example, the mighty Thor, okay, who's Scandinavian god, right? Mighty Thor. And I like Thor. It's the hammer. Anyone ever see Adventures in Babysitting?
Yeah.
You seen it? Good movie. Okay. A little kid, there's this guy who's working on cars and he comes out of the smoke, and blonde-haired guy, big muscular guy. The little kid says, oh, it's Thor. Jesus. Imagine. So Greeks, Vikings, you could say American Indians or natives, okay? I just say Indians for the purpose of it. Okay? They had their own belief system. They called Great Spirit and different spirits and different things. You get into more modern times, well, I guess not more modern times. You go even back thousands of years of history, okay? You have a religious system, a belief system called Hinduism, okay? Hinduism, I was in India in March, Calcutta, now it's called Kolkata, teaching Mother Teresa sisters, and they believe in there are thousands and thousands of gods. You go to different parts of India, different states, they're almost different cultures. They have different languages. I was in part of the northeast, where I was imagining Hindi as kind of a common language, but they didn't speak Hindi. They spoke, forgetting the language now, it was their common language. No, it's something else. Anyway, in the south, or west, they speak Hindi. Anyway, Hinduism, there's a basic belief system in Hinduism, but you go to different areas of India, they have different gods. Well, these are people's expressions, okay, their perceptions. Someone, these religions, okay, and this is important, okay, are creations of the human mind. What do I mean by that? Look with me. What do I mean? These are all creations of the human mind. What does that mean?
Subjective truths, things that don't actually exist.
Someone thought them up. Someone created the system of gods. Go to different parts of India or the Greeks and Romans, someone thought up. Actually, the Romans just stole from the Greeks, what the Romans did. They just renamed them. Instead of Zeus, what did the Romans do? Jupiter, yeah. So they just renamed the Greek gods. These are creations of the human mind. Someone thought them up, and people started believing them, and then they formed a system of belief and things that you should do to honor the gods, so on and so forth. Okay. Well, these are pure creations of the human mind, you can say. There are other belief systems which are kind of a synthesis of Christianity and someone's own idea. And two, I think, come to mind here. Okay? And if you know anything about them, one is the religion of Islam. Okay? Islam, the founder, Muhammad. Okay? Muhammad lifted things right out of the Old Testament. And Muhammad, in his belief system that he made up, he looked at Jesus, this is how Muslims view Jesus, as what? Does anyone know? What do they consider Jesus? Jesus isn't a heretic. What do they consider Jesus in Islam? What? He's a prophet. Jesus is one prophet who is preparing for the prophet. So, Muhammad is the prophet. The prophet. He's the main prophet. Jesus was just a prophet to precede Muhammad, who's the great prophet. Muhammad and the people of Islam deny that Jesus is one God in three persons. God is Allah. That's it. You have Allah. There's no three persons in God. Jesus is not God in the religious system of Islam. Christians believe one God, three persons. The second person of the Trinity, okay, the Son, okay, became man. And that's Jesus. Okay. Jesus is God and man in one person. That's who Jesus is. No. Muhammad denies this. Basically, Muhammad is a Christian heretic. If you remember your study of religion, history of religion, okay, there was a heretic back in the 4th century, the early 4th century, a Christian heretic, who denied, okay, that Jesus was God. He said, no, he's just a good man. His name was Arius. Okay? He denied the divinity of Christ. Okay? So Jesus is just a man. Just a man. A holy man, but he's just a man. He's not God. That's what Arius believed. He denied the divinity of Christ. Arius was a priest. And he went around spreading this message that Jesus, he said, his big saying, there was a time when the Son was not, the Son of God. There was a time when the Son was not. And he didn't exist. Time when the Son was not. So the Son is not co-eternal with the Father. Christians believe that God the Father is God, God the Son is God, God the Holy Spirit is God. And the Son of God, while remaining God, became man. That's who Jesus Christ is. He is God and man in one person. Arius denied this. And this was in the 320s AD. And what did the church do to counter the heresy of Arius? The church held a council. It was the first great ecumenical council. And that is the Council of Nicaea. Council of Nicaea. Council of Nicaea, 325 AD. And the Council of Nicaea, they condemned Arius as a heretic, and they put together, they formulated the language of the creed that we say on Sundays. But Jesus, we believe that Jesus is God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, eternally begotten by the Father, not made, not created, one in substance with the Father. That was put together in 325 to counter Arius and his heresy. Well, good historians think that Muhammad just picked up on this Arian heresy because it floated around the Middle East for hundreds of years, even after the Council of Nicaea. And Muhammad thought, oh, this is a good idea. Jesus is just a good guy. He's just a prophet. I'm the great prophet. There isn't any trinity of persons in the one God. God is just Allah. Jesus is just a prophet. So, from a Christian standpoint, Islam is a heresy. Muhammad is a heretic. Now, either Jesus is really God, or he isn't. You can't hold both. That's the principle of non-contradiction. But Islam is a synthesis of Christianity and Muhammad's own ideas. So it's not purely a creation of his mind, but he was taking things from the Old Testament, he took things from Christ. He saw, oh, Jesus is a good man, but he's just a prophet. Muhammad is the greatest prophet. So these are religious systems that are a synthesis, okay? Synthesis. Of Christianity and creations of human mind. Another religion that's a synthesis, I lived with them for 3 years. I was the pastor of a parish in Nauvoo, Illinois, which is on the Mississippi River. It's the widest part of Mississippi. The state of Illinois, you're looking at the state of Illinois, go out west, it goes like this, okay, and then it goes down. The farthest point west, just about, of Illinois on the Mississippi is Nauvoo. And that is where Joseph Smith settled for a while after he started in New York, went to Ohio, ended up in Nauvoo, Illinois. He was killed by a mob in Carthage, Illinois. That's where Carthage College comes from, by the way. Carthage. It's about 30 miles from Nauvoo. It's right down the road from where I was. And they killed him because, well, Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormons, moved to Nauvoo, and Joseph Smith's idea was kind of like Muhammad's. Joseph Smith said, if you know anything about Mormons, does anyone know anything about the Mormon religion? What do they believe?
I know a lot. Actually, like, took a little reading last year, so I know a lot about it, but basically, they believe in this celestial marriage.
Celestial marriage, well, that's one of the things they believe in. That
was in the tradition time, like Joseph Smith's time, they first had multiple wives. Way back.
Okay, but even...
they believe that he found these golden tablets in the ground. These special spectacles that he had, and he could only read them. Now they disappeared. And then after he read them all with these special glasses, they disappeared, and he was the only one who read them. That's how the Book of Mormon.
Right. So he writes the Book of Mormon. One of the main things about the Book of Mormonism, okay, Joseph Smith, okay,
That's not even.
Joseph Smith, founder, okay, Mormonism. Joseph Smith believed, and this is what Mormons believe, that, well, Mormonism is polytheism, okay? No, not everyone, no. Polytheistic, okay? Polytheistic, many gods, but each god gets his own world to populate. But only men get to be gods in the Mormon system. Women, they get some consolation prize, I don't know what it is. But they don't get to be gods. Men get to be gods if they're good. You'll get your own world, and you'll have relations with different women to raise up seed for your world. Okay? So Mormons, they are not Christians. They call themselves the Latter-day Saints, the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, but they are not Christians, because to be a Christian, we have to believe in one God in three persons. Mormons are polytheists. That's the basic tenet of their religion. They're polytheistic. And like Islam, Joseph Smith came up with this idea that marriage for men, not for women, for men could have multiple wives, just like Islam. Muhammad recommends in the Quran, I think, 6 wives, it's either 4 or 6. You can have many more if you're cheap and you're rich. And Mormonism, there's no limit. Joseph Smith had many, many wives. By the way, you know how young the youngest wife of Muhammad was? Does anyone know? Nope. Oh yeah.
No, some people say they're 9, but...
Well, actually, he married her in a ceremony when she was 6. He consummated the marriage and had relations with her when she was 9. That's in the Encyclopedia of Islam. I think you will look it up. So they may call him a prophet. I call him a pervert. That's the pervert. You think that it's okay to have relations with 9-year-old girls. Okay, I'll say this right to the camera. He's a pervert. And you can believe in Muhammad if you want. A lot of people believe in Islam. But it's a religion that is part of the creation of the mind of Muhammad. So is Joseph Smith's Mormonism. And in Mormonism, like in Islam, you can have multiple wives. Joseph Smith did, even quite young ones. And I lived with the Mormons. Nauvoo is their holy land. They had their temple built there, and they call it the Great Exodus. It was in the 1850s. They all left. Half the group, Joseph Smith's son, took half the group to Missouri, Independence, Missouri. And Brigham Young took most of the group to Utah. They called it the Great Exodus. The non-Mormons called it, they got run out of town. Because the Mormons thought they could just steal people's wives and steal people's property because they were Mormons. They were God's special blessing to the race. Well, other people didn't think so, and they ran them out of town. But I see a similarity between Muhammad and Joseph Smith, both in the sense that they deny that Jesus is God, and they deny the Trinity. And worse is actually Mormonism, because it's polytheistic, we believe in many gods. But as far as marriage, and the idea of polygamy, having many wives, is accepted. Yeah.
If you think that some people from the South are pretty racist, Mormons, they're closet racist. In their honest belief system, they have to find their religion for back in before the creation, when Jesus and Satan were both in heaven. They believe in the split world, and half of the angels went down to heaven and became demons, and that your soul, you were once an angel, and if you're white, you came down from heaven. If you're black, you used to be an angel.
Well, the Mormons, their religion changes too.
Yeah.
Because in the past you couldn't be black, dark-skinned, and become a full-fledged Mormon. Now they're I forget what they call their leader. Oh, the prophet, that's what they call him. They have successive prophets. And the prophet had this revelation. He claimed, well, now we'll accept the black people into our religion. They can become full-fledged Mormons, and there's still, I think, a prejudice against them. Anyway, those are religious systems, what I just explained. Greeks, Romans, Hinduism, creations of the human mind purely, and then Islam and Mormonism, a synthesis of Christianity, because you read the Book of Mormon, he copied right out of the King James Version of the Bible. Mistakes included, or mistakes in the King James. Joseph Smith copied it right out. We know this. He opened up the Book of Mormon. So he claimed that he had the special glasses and he got this inspiration. It was an angel that told him these things. But anyway, so are these religions true? That's the bottom line. is Hinduism true? I believe the Roman religion's true. No one believes that now. Is Islam true? Well, you have over 1 billion people on earth who believe that Muhammad is the prophet. And if you, for example, are in a Muslim country and you write an article critical of Muhammad, even telling the truth about him, but it's viewed as critical, they will protect you. And their belief is that you can spread religion by the sword. You can murder God. So is that religion true or not? Well, from my perspective, I say, well, this is the creation of the human mind, along with looking at the Bible as a basic synthesis of the two. So with Mormonism. Now, these are religious systems that are people's expressions of reality. Then there are philosophies, okay? And what time do we have? It's a short class. 2:50. Okay. Some philosophies. Now, what does the word philosophy come from? Does anyone know? Philosophy. Philo is love. Okay. Love. Okay. And Sophia is wisdom. So, philosophy is love of wisdom. That's what philosophy is. Philosophers, you should be seeking after wisdom. What is wisdom? What the truth is about reality. Okay? That's what a good philosopher does. I want to know the truth about things. Philosophy looks to, okay, can we prove philosophically, using reasoned arguments, our intellect, that there's a God, without looking at what God has revealed to us? Okay? Can we do this? The good philosophers say, yes, we can do this. We're going to see how we can do that in this class. And maybe you've had this before. Have you ever done that before? Looked at how you can prove God exists from using reason? Done this in any of your other classes or not? Father Todd, maybe a little bit. Okay, we're going to go into it a little more deeply in this class. Okay. So, but there have been philosophies throughout history of the world, and these are how people perceive reality, how they explain reality using their intellect. Okay? And some philosophies are true, and some philosophies are false. I'll just give you 2 brief examples. Okay. One is the famous philosopher, okay, David Hume. Okay. David Hume denied after the past is dead, denied the principle of cause and effect. Okay? In his philosophy, he denied the principle of cause and effect. Now, he writes out this whole system and he denies, well, things necessarily aren't affected, don't have a cause. Well, is this in keeping with objective reality? Philosophically speaking, a good philosopher would say David Hume's philosophy, he tries explaining things, but he denies the principle of cause and effect in his philosophy. Well, you can look at it and study it, his philosophy, from, say, a historical point of view, but you'd have to say in the end, David Hume is not in touch with reality. Effects and cause. Okay? That's our human experience. We can learn this from observation. He says, oh, we can't trust our senses. Even though something looks like it may have a cause, it doesn't. He raises all these objections. He's skeptical. Okay? Another philosopher I'll name here. Okay? I'll just give you some examples of philosophers throughout history. Okay? Some guys who aren't too good. Okay? After David Hume, I'll erase him. Okay? Denies the principle of cause and effect. This fellow here, maybe you've never heard of him, maybe you have, okay? John Locke, he influenced the founding fathers very much in his philosophy. But John Locke denied human nature. He denied that we have human nature that is unchanging. A set human nature. There's no such thing as a human nature. You look to every single person, they may be different. Well, no. Throughout history, we've had good philosophers who look at human nature, study the human person, and try to figure out who we are. Now, some good philosophers, I'll go up here, who try to do this early on. You have Greeks like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Now they are regarded from a Christian point of view as, they're people with objective reality truth. They're philosophers. Philosophies of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they were trying to use their human intellect to try to figure out, does God exist? Looking at the universe. They believed in cause and effects, and that's one of the reasons Aristotle argues that one of the arguments we can use for the existence of God is that every effect has cause. So there must be a God who caused things and uncaused cause. That's what Aristotle called God. What the name says, an uncaused cause. Aristotle used another argument. I'll use it in the future when we go through this. Movement requires a mover. Things don't move on their own. There must be someone who started things in motion, the unmoved mover. It's God. He used arguments like this to argue philosophically for the existence of God. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they all looked at the human person and tried to figure out who we are. We have an intellect. We say parts of our spiritual nature. What do we have as an intellect? We know things. We can reason things out. Is that all we have? What do we have besides an intellect? We have a free will. We have a free will. Besides an intellect and free will, we have emotions, passions. People get happy, they get angry. Also, part of our psychic makeup is we have an imagination. We can image things in our mind. And the good philosophers study the human person, okay? Let's figure out who we are as persons. Compare us to brute animals. I had a dog, Max. I'll refer to him in the future. His full name was Maximilian, named after St. Maximilian Kolbe. He was an English Springer Spaniel. Max knew things that he didn't know that he knew. That's the difference. Max couldn't think a thought, what will life be like after I die? What will tomorrow bring? The smartest ape can't think a thought like that. They don't have reason. So, people's expressions of their perceptions of objective reality, philosophies, some are true, some are in keeping with objective reality, some are not. And if you study the history of philosophy, you can look at and compare philosophers. Tomorrow, I will not be here. I'm going to give you a talk to listen to because I just listened to it on my way. I drove up to Holy Hill today. Anyone been to Holy Hill?